Today is day 14, December 2022. We will have a conversation quite simple, quite clear. First thing, we will report that we already offered the model at security using the US Defense 2022-2028, observing everything we had until today since 2014. It's a storage of data and has value. It's an asset we will use as continued to the next period. Maybe if I continue, I will be on it. If I do not continue, kind of decide to have my life, I will not be on it. So, but it's software delivered. You can work by your own legs. The last thing we had was like this: the general idea, considering the global responsiveness using one specific global system with players in global scale, like a company or whatever. I must have drivers, I must have programs. We can consider that this, I can observe the Fibonacci pattern having the rangers, I would say, at the streets, at the west coast and east coast, and the entire USA, because in the globe we already did. Then we will move. We will present here our report. The last one we had, it was today, and it's risk report December 2020. Risk report 2022 trace december.blogspot.com. You please take a look there. You will observe that you had kind of issues there. First thing is the communication, the mobile be properly, not keep randomizing my access all the time. But unfortunately, coming since 2014, it's difficult to present that this not a fact, but indeed it's a fact, and affected a lot of things really huge, that you are kind of hidden yourself as usual inside an institution, as a vagabond, as a big rat that you are. We will have here this like this. It's the risk report 2022. We are observing, unfortunately got in touch with the Mr. Donald Trump trial. That is let's suppose that is an hypothesis. It was last year. I think that you had this issue on December last year, I think. But anyway, credit protection, procedure, thanks message. You take a look at there, and you have the video. 21st century, is it real or just a fantasy? Then we have the idea as Donald Trump. The case is quite simple. If it has no frauds, we can have a circle as committee, a council of peers, kind of others, magnata in USA, or very rich peers, or something like this, and have the audit there by equity. Others we do. Criminal result, you must have from the Federal Reserve of United States. Measured at this closed procedure under judicial secrecy. Going to New York, open data with the antitrust justice. See? If it has problems like frauds at the tax examination, you must understand that first, before having the decision about the fraud, if the method used is valid. For instance, if you had the overtaxation, the protection of the property is a basic right in the United States. You can deny this. So you have to accept that was valid. Have the tax evasion or fraud to protect the property against the abuse made by the users of state power to do the taxation or the tax examination. Simple to get. The trial at the very first moment is about the method. The method used to do not pay the tax, the method used to charge the tax. Then we will have my benefits law in America. I like very, very much, but only business. So we will check that we have the Cgqm inner measurement.blogspot.com. Issues are there quite clear, equally informed of the same violation. The object audited: misuse of institutional power. Exist, not exist. Exist. It's on go, it's on blazing act. With levels. If it has the tax abuse and have the misguided trial, at least not proper at the very first sight. Then we will check the approach. The offender of constitutional rules goes kind of as U.S. institutional power, stronger the violation of U.S. preamble, and foreign affairs or other judicial power doing the same thing. In the very first moment, you do not respect the freedom as a bless. Even to talk or to have posts on your social media, you decide to shut accounts on American company on USA against the preamble of the American Constitution. And then after a big mess, you got charged and decided to create the instability to do not ensure the domestic tranquility. Insanity is commit the same mistake expecting different results. And we will check that's recommended to the judicial court as protection, as an advice for free. Do the analysis and declare limits at methods. Use this value or not value, we had this talk already. So I can move at the time that was posted because I was having the problem as usual. And then we had questions. Harassment case, economic espionage, contractual interference, interference at service to U.S. judicial power, interference at prospect to the U.S. judicial system, interference at all portfolio offered to the NATO or whatever, the chair number one at that time as Mr. John Stoltenberg, in the same way previously the Jürgen Stock on Interpol and the Drago Coles as chair number one as anti-corruption. He did interference on real time. Brazil and peers by silence, equally associated, blind eye, has a directory about this. Portfolio offered to be to be under, I'm getting old, to be reciprocate supported from representative group on Europe. And then we had questions. Had this obsession hurted others' interests? Is this harassment since 2014 at least? Question number 2. Had exposed, like, the intimacy or details of someone else or whatever, or putting others in risks on Asia, in other areas, by fake records, by a lot of things, or doing the interference due to remote follow-up. At the mobile, interference at the mobile during remote follow-up, for instance, randomizing signals or cutting the access. Happened this at least once, like 5 minutes ago. International Criminal Court, the independent oversight mechanism, is an instrument to oversight courts and judicial power. We will check 2.1 as question. Can we consider help from the International Criminal Court by the independent oversight mechanism? Reply about If contamination, poison, death by hoax, which is a violation of civil rights, absurd machine orders are considered method of punishment validated by law, by constitution? Yes or no? Question number 3. Has any relation with violations of freedom and now stability and domestic tranquility with criminal offenders at the debtor system? 3.1. Anyone else had open data to the court in the way I did? We are in different sides, at least by the proofs I opened in my life. Did you have the same behavior? Offenders having no open data used obstruction of justice and fake records. See? Why? Why and which does it mean to the court, prosecutors, and great jury? Are we equals presenting the proofs? Question number 4. Is this a second aggression against the West Preamble, criminal offenders at the debtor system, and viewed as a criminal system during the charge by the behavior of the debtor, which are the offenders inside the institution, and then we are charging the institution that encouraged them and kept them until this time? 4.1. If you are not equals by the quality of proofs presented, can we consider fraud on trial at least by one side at collinear association by multiplicity of crimes for constitutional power a reality? Exist? Decision 3, and we are back to the Trump case. We have frauds and not valid methods. If you have the fraud and not valid methods, guilty. Right? For instance, if you did a fake record to use the data machine against someone, exposing drugs or whatever, or even if it really happened, but the data machine, puts someone in a humiliation situation and create a big hurt, it's something okay. What do you consider? Can you do the same by his process in a neutral area's jurisdiction? What do you think? And the judicial payroll, 37 trillion, 9 billion, audit method, drill down, U.S. judicial theory uncovering the view judicial rules offered from U.S. antitrust just by equity orders we do dismiss before criminal jurisdiction to protect the institutional integrity, which is not the institution as itself, but the instrument at the institution to be used, even if the institution is unable to use by corruption or whatever. To protect the institutional integrity of criminal jurisdiction, which is the capacity to say the right and have properly explained the reasons about the conviction and the application of the penalty. The chair do not belong to the judge, and so the U.S. judicial power. You are serving the USA, it's not the opposite. Fact, evidence, and proven. Institutions, debtor system inside, and viewed as criminal system as core activity. And institutions in global scale, misuse of state power, consider fake records and abusive procedure as data machine with things like this, humiliation, crime system. So we have an identity here in different levels as one specific area, one in global scale, but the same model as design. That's okay. Conclusive, institutional misuse is related with criminal system. Globally speaking, the Interpol has total legitimacy to operate and act. All others they need. They can do this. And The inference: did obstruction and fake data indeed clustered? All criminal offenders by misuse of institutional data and records concurrent interests at this interval, which allow to protect all crimes committed and abuses perpetrated. Conclusion: DBS as database Sigma method payoff. Its functional work flawless and has values, so economic espionage and industrial crimes are decided equally against our offenders. A debtor system unveiled as a criminal system, even by corruption and obstruction as concurrence fields at misuse. Trial by jury on New York, 2022-2028. Target: pandemic crime, clustered evidence and proved, and without reasons to do not have an excuse as not application of the law. Or the global police against this kind of activity. In a neutral area there's no law, but we can act by reciprocity, by proportion and equity. If you use a huge diving machine against someone in an extremely cowardice, can we put you inside a jail naked with a gorilla, hungry, starving? What do you think? Now you had no three guts anymore because you are pussy, you are fraud. Then stepping out, 2014, 2028, and the personal note: business and investments is expressed by decisions and behaviors show quality and values we carry to the community and environment. I think that both can change lives. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, professional records, and I'm stepping out all alone, very poor. It's Christmas for me too. I'm the victim, and I'm very sorry, but I'm the creditor too, boo. See? Have a great week. All consequences by law. On neutral area, the police is recommended the best guarantee if accepted or if, according with the circumstance.